Hello everyone here. Hello everyone, Team Wartech here, back at it again with another discussion video. But before we start today's video, I really need you guys to click the subscribe button. Do that right now before the video even starts. Click that subscribe button and like this video before the discussion even starts, because we're taking this channel far. So now we got that out of the way, let's get into the video. So here's what we're going to be talking about today. I want to compare Trickstars to Chainburn. Like, here's my thing with Trickstars. Here are the advantages that Trickstar has. This card right here, Drone Lockbird. The only thing that they have that you could argue with, that you can make an argument with, that I would accept, that Trickstars are better than old school Chainburn, is the fact that Drone Lockbird is broken in this deck. This is the only viable, and acceptable argument that you could make that Trickstars are better. And you can't make that argument because you'll never see Drone Lockbird consistently enough. You can't play things like Desires in the deck because you can't afford to banish a whole bunch of combo pieces. You can't play things like Card Demise in the deck because you'll end up losing your Drone Lockbirds. Same reason why you can't play Into the Void in the deck, because you'll have to ditch your whole hand at the end of the turn. You won't be able to resolve the combo. So yeah, the deck's very limited in its place. Honestly, for this deck. And you can't even run cards like Upstart Goblin or One Day Apiece in the deck, because then you won't be able to do your burn combo, which will hurt the deck. As a matter of fact, One Day Apiece is a card that I should have talked about in my last video, where Trickstars can't really burn you for shit for a whole turn. And a lot of people have forgotten how One Day Apiece works. People really need to know what that card does already. And Trickstar players will play into One Day Apiece, and all their cards will just be wasted. All their power cards will just go bye-bye. I've been able to bait out the Trickstar deck before over simple, less than $1 cards that are limited with cards like One Day Apiece. I've been able to beat out Trickstar players with shit like that because a lot of people don't know what it does. See, simple things like a One Day Apiece can bait out Trickstars for an entire 2 turns total. And this is why I feel the deck's very vulnerable. And the only argument you can make, aside from the Drone Lockbird FTK/lock that you can make, is the fact that you have a lot of monsters in this deck, so you could actually go into your extra deck with this, unlike a deck like Chainburn, which is comprised of spells and traps only, and the only monsters you would run, if you're not running Demise, you would run your Lava Golems in there, which wouldn't be that good. And aside from that, you probably run like Carcardees, and that'd be it. But aside from that, you don't really do anything else in that deck when it comes to monsters. That's the only other argument you can make. And, again, it's not like Trickstars go into their extra deck all the time. I believe Team Samurai X1 summarized it perfectly.
Alright guys, extra deck isn't necessary at all, but you know what, for the extra deck you want to play, of course, one Trickstar Holy Angel,
You heard that? It's exactly like Team Samurai X1 said. You don't really need to go into your extra deck with this deck. You're not really supposed to make the extra deck cards happen in this deck, because you're supposed to leave these monsters out on the field so you can get their effects to do more burn damage. You're trying to basically push for small amounts of burn at multiple times, like 20 plus times in one turn. That's what the deck does. And it's like I said in my last Trickstar Rant video. Lots of people are implying that they're going to see cards like Chain Summoning or Drone Lockbird excuse me, in their opening hand all the time. And you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh like that. You can't. assuming that you're going to see luck-sacky cards in your hand all the time. You can't play Yu-Gi-Oh like that. That's not a way to play Yu-Gi-Oh. That's why in the OCG, and I give them props for producing the Draw and Lockbird combo over there. But I still think that the combo is not viable. And guess what? Since people in this country are copying, basically net decking and bandwagoning the OCG's deck list for this deck, you should expect to see the same amount of results over here that it saw over there in Japan and the rest of the OCG. Same exact results. Anywhere from 3 to 5%, maybe 6 to 7% if you're pushing it, if you're lucky, relevant in the meta. The rest of it's going to be True Draco, Zoo, Dino, because nobody wants to do any other innovation with the deck, aside from what the OCG has produced for deck lists of this entire deck. And it's true. Anyway, and not even 6-7%. Like I said before, anywhere from 3 to 5%. I'm going on the low end with this deck when it comes to its overall dominance. Sure, it's a good deck, but the way people are building it is just stupid. Like I see a lot of people cutting the tricks. I'm not tricks. What the fuck am I saying? So angry right now with a lot of deck lists, new deck lists, recent deck lists I've seen on YouTube already. A lot of people are not using the light barrier statue in there, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to increase your ceiling. Like, that light barrier statue will basically, aside from True Draco and any light decks, with the exception of True Draco and light decks, no other deck can really play with that light barrier statue on the field with Honest in your hand. And it extends your ceiling. And you can run that along with Chain Summoning in the deck, thus increasing your chances of being able to pull off one of the 3 combos off. Whether it's the Barrier Statue combo, the Draw and Lockbird combo, or the Chain Summoning combo. It increases your ceiling much higher. Assuming that you're going to see this or this in your opening hand all the time is a bad way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's why I feel that this deck isn't going anywhere. If anywhere, 3 to 5% relevance in our TCG meta overall. Only 3 to 5% out of the full 100% of the pie chart. And that's just the truth. It doesn't get any more simpler to explain than that. But I believe that I rambled on about this long enough. Let's get into this other discussion of the video. How does this deck compare to Chamber? I'm going to argue that Chamber, old school Chamber in its prime, and even Chamber today, is better than Trickstar. Why? Because Chamber actually has consistency. Sorry, but Trickstars do not have consistency. They are a luck sack deck. They rely on you seeing certain important key combo pieces in your hand all the time and your opponent not having the answer to them. This deck relies on your opponent not having a strike to hit the Draw and Lockbird. This deck relies on your opponent not being able to Dark Bribe Chain Summoning. This deck relies on that. And prize on people not running certain tech cards to stop it. It relies on people thinking that Trickstar is not going to be seen in any meta, in any tournament. That's what this deck prides on. This deck has much more consistency and potency. Trickstars could run Power Duality, as a matter of fact. And for the most part, Team Samurai also summarized that perfectly, that if you don't have the combo in the opening hand, you can use Duality to get some more of your resources. That's very true. But in this deck, I feel you shouldn't be playing 2 Duality. 3 Duality is the best ratio for this deck. And that deck, sadly, cannot run Card Demise. Nope. It can't go in. Because of this fucker right here. This fucker right here is preventing the deck from being that much more consistent to run cards like Card Demise and be able to raise their ceiling 3 times more. And this deck cannot run Desires. Nope. Desires cannot go in there. Why? Because you're going to end up banishing all of your combo pieces or your luck sack pieces in order for you to draw 2 cards. That's why that deck cannot run Desires. The Dark Room of Nightmare version of this deck, in my opinion, is the best version. That one and the Barrier Statue Edition are my 2 most favorite, and the ones I believe to be the best ones. Not this Luxacky Draw and Lockbird shit. Because at least in the Door of Darkness version, you can run Demise since it's a continuous spell card. So it doesn't become a Luxacky card. It becomes an actual consistent tech card in the deck that can burn your opponent to death if they don't know how to answer it. And while it's true that the Ojama cards are not as good as they once were before now with Links coming out, the only thing you have to do is have 3 Just Desserts on the field. Is have Just Desserts with Secret Barrels, give your opponent these fucking shitty tokens, and just burn them to death. These cards are still amazing to run your deck. And Ojamas have actually seen competitive success with their new Odama Duo Trap card in the OCG. It's actually pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. And you can, like I said, in Chamber you can run things like Demise, Duality, Desires. You can even get away with running 1 day a piece. And, well, not really 1 day a piece, but you can also get away with running the 1 copy of Upstart Goblin in this deck. Yes, you could. I've done it before. Back in days where I couldn't afford Desires. And I had to just run that 1 Upstart Goblin and hope for the best. But now Desires is getting reprinted. It's most likely going to be at most a $5 ultra rare. 6 if you want to push it. So Chamber, and if Demise gets hit, it's getting hit to 2 and nothing more. And that does not change the consistency of this deck. Seeing how Chamber, old school Chamber, can run things like Reckless Greed, Accumulated Fortune, Jar of Greed, Legacy of Yagaratsu, Upstart Goblin, Power Duality, Desires if necessary. And you can also side deck a lot of Floodgates for this deck too. This is the one deck that I would side deck cards like Anti-Spell, cards like Imperial Iron Wall, and cards, simple Floodgates like that. You can side deck that stuff in this deck because this deck is already very trap heavy and it's very consistent in the way it's built. So you're guaranteed to see your side deck cards all the time. Not this piece of shit Luxacky garbage that Konami produced and dares to call a burn deck. Not this trashy Trickstar garbage. And I'm gonna keep calling this deck a garbage can until people actually innovate their decks to not rely on this dipshit and this dipshit in the deck. Until and actually innovate their decks, be creative. That's right, be creative. Produce something better. Because I know I could, but I choose not to. Because I don't like this deck. It's not that I have a hard time with it. It's one of the easiest decks to beat once you know its play style. I personally don't like the style of the deck. Be creative. And that's right, be creative. Innovate this shit. This trash can. Into something more better. Until you do that, I'm calling Trickstar the trash can. I'm not changing my opinions on this deck. Because this deck is nothing more than a Luxack piece of shit. It really is. It has no place in the competitive game whatsoever right now. And ABC's actually fucked this deck even harder. Because they have Dragon Buster, which can work around their field spell. Which can work around the Trickstar field spell. True Draco has all their spells and traps that pop your cards. If True Draco goes first and they trigger the traps and spells trigger the spells in order to pop your reincarnation before you even get to use it, you're not going to be able to do a draw lockbird combo anyway. It's going to be a dead card in your hand. This deck relies on you being able to have a certain setup at all times. And I'm sorry to say, this deck doesn't have the consistency to do that. I've ranted on this trash can long enough. Don't forget to like my videos, subscribe to the Team Moral Tech channel. Team Moral Tech, signing out. Peace out.